Talking to numerous people about the bins, and Wicklow County Council, Maura Byrne was one of the people we were talking to, and she said they don't necessarily, don't necessarily expect increase in your charges. If you work your recycling right and your black bin right and your food bin right, things should remain the same. People had problems about living in apartment blocks, how will they get a wheelie bin there, or if somebody lives up a country road in County Wicklow, how to get the wheelie bin down. But there are exemptions. Today's Irish Examiner is talking about a massive increase in bin charges, and the article was co-written by Daniel McConnell. Good morning to you, Daniel.
Good morning, Declan. How are you?
Okay, thank you. You're frightening us. What's going on here? I'm assured that there won't be any increases.
Well, I mean, the soothing voices from officialdom would certainly like us to not to be kind of exercised, but certainly my colleagues in our Cork office were busily kind of ferreting away and getting the details from the companies themselves. And what we found is that, bin collection costs could rise and are expected to rise for an awful lot of people by up to 80%, which means people could be facing bills of up to €500 a year.
I know, it's pretty bad. So how would they be... how will they be calculated?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a kind of a set system for everybody. So Green Star, for example, who collect in the Cork City area, if you were, say, put out a full litre 240 black bin and put that out collection twice a month, that you will pay up to €502. So that would be based on there's an 18 cent per kilo for residential and 14 gram per or 14 cent per kilo for compost. And then there's a standing charge, and then there's a kind of a per weight kind of lift charge as well. So you're kind of, the incentive here, talking to Simon Coveney last night, the incentive here is that the way the system is set up is that it'll encourage you to use your brown bin and your green bin, not just to throw everything into your black bin, as a lot of people in Dublin are already doing. However, what is being flagged in areas all across the country where companies have an effective monopoly on their area is that they'll simply use this system to gouge customers, and this is where all this political controversy is coming from.
Right, can you take us back here? Because when these charges were put forward by Alan Kelly, there was all objections by the AAA Alliance, not what they called? Anti-austerity, People for Profit. Yeah, that this was going to lead to greater costs because of the new regime, and they got the regime overturned. And we're still talking about higher costs. So why would that be?
Well, that was in relation to the green bin, that the part of the new system was that it was initially considered that a very low charge would be brought in for your green bin, which has been free essentially up until, or subsidised by your black bin up until this point. And it was seen as a retrograde step, that you're essentially disincentivising recycling. And in fairness to Simon Coveney, on taking office, he realised that this is an issue, so he basically said, grand, all right, we'll scrap or essentially set the charges for the green bin at zero. The counter-argument then was, well, then you're going to have to put the burden back on the black bin and the brown bin. And what we're now seeing is that the threat now of those charges increasing. I mean, just for example, like even Greyhound, who have been dogged by controversy in Dublin since they took over the provision of services from the council. They have a service charge of €59.95 a year, but they're now set to increase this to €169. I mean, that's a huge increase, and that's even before any bin is lifted. So, you're across the board, you're looking at the potential of charges increasing pretty significantly. Now, I would say, given how vulnerable this government is, it is acutely conscious to this sort of firestorm brewing in relation to charges in the wake of, everyone is still really scarred by the Irish water debacle. So I would think that, should these numbers bear out in terms of when Simon Coveney meets the companies next week, then I think some action will have to be done. The counter-argument from the department yesterday was, these are private operators. They have to make a profit. They have to make it viable for them to do the job. But the counter-argument from the customer's point of view is, well, it's up to these were services previously provided by the county councils. It was their decision, not the customers, to kind of essentially privatise it. It's not for the customer to be paying the price for it.
Right, we'll wait and see anyway. But people will be very cross about it, especially with headlines like yourself, 80% more, and people saying, a change of regime, more money. We would just won't accept it. Okay, thanks very much indeed, Daniel.
Good talking. Thanks very much.
Take care. Bye-bye. Daniel McConnell there from the Irish Examiner, and Daniel's article is there on the front page. 80% increase. Blooming hell. Can you imagine? And I know there's going to be text in about, it's never been the same since the council stopped collecting the waste. I know. Anyway, some of your texts.